So if you go on Google and search for AWS, right, you see where it says cloud services, Amazon services, right? Select that. Okay, so what I need you to do is to create an account on AWS services. You're going to create a free account. AWS gives you 700 hours to use the services for free, right? To use the services for free. So you would require to create an account. And for you to create an account, honey, please, honey, for you to create an account, you need a credit card. So you'll require a credit card. They're not going to charge you. It could be a debit card or credit card. They're not going to charge your account, but that's a requirement. So what you do is, let me see already. I have an account here. Thank you. Click on sign in. Oh, I already have an account. So you can go to create a new account. If you don't have an account, create a new account and enter your email address. It has to be a correct email address that you have. Don't use a fake email address, otherwise you will not be able to. They will ask you to authenticate your account. You will not be able to. Put in an email account that you know you can access. Then put in the name, your account name, then verify the email, then you can sign in, right? When you sign in, it's going to ask you for your credit card information. Yeah, go ahead and do that. They're not going to charge your account, right? Like I said, you have 700 hours before they can even charge your account. So by the time we're done with this class, your account will not be charged because what we'll do is we'll build the infrastructure and I'll show you can stop the infrastructure from running and kill it. So if you are with your laptop right now, you can go ahead and do that. Create an account on AWS. And this is what my account looks like. Let me sign into my account. So this is what my account looked like. So you can get to services and it'll give you all the services that AWS is running. Now, what we're going to use right now is EC2. So if I click on EC2, I want to create an account. I want to create an instance on EC2. So let me show you how to create an account. How to create an instance, simple instance, right? So I have, on your left-hand side, you see where it says instances. So you can select an instance. When you select this, it'll show you all the instances that I have. But you want to create a new instance. For you to create an instance, you have, see, these are the regions that AWS has all over the world, right? So I am in Seattle, Washington. So I want to create an account that is closer to me so that I don't experience any latency. So the closest one to me is US West Oregon. Also, I have US West, not California, that's close, but Oregon is closer to me than California. So I will select Oregon. So that's, if you are in Nigeria, there's an account in South Africa, Sao Paulo, right? You can create this account, and this is the one that you're using because it's closer to you. It will help with latency. Otherwise, the closest account to you are all in Europe. You can select all this. Sometimes you don't have services in South Africa. Oh, this is South America, sorry. I was looking for South Africa. Yeah, that's South America.
I saw Africa down before.
Yeah, there's Africa down. That's South America. This is Africa. So I don't have access to African. So you may be able Cape Town. I don't have access. So if you're in Nigeria, you should have access to this. They won't give me access to this. If you don't have access to account in Africa, look for account in Europe. Any of these ones in Europe. Europe is closer to you, either London or Paris, right? UE West 2. That's where you create your account. Okay. All right. So I would leave mine in Oregon. Okay. And if I want to create an instance now, so you have, let me explain this. So on your left panel here, you have all the listings of all the resources that you can create. You have the dashboard here to see the dashboard of what you have. This dashboard will show you all your programs that are running. Like I have 3 instances running right now. I have 27 instances total, right? I have 3 running right now. I have 20 key pairs, 121 security groups. I have 5 snapshots. I have 32 volumes, right? So these are my resources. It gives you a dashboard, a snapshot of all the things that you have. On the left-hand side are all the resources. Then on the top, so if I want to create an instance right now, we'll deep dive into AWS when we get to AWS. I just want to give you an overview of it. If you want to create an instance, so you select instance here, then you see what it says, launch instances. You launch the instance here. Here you have actions. There are actions here that you can take. We'll get into that later. Don't worry about it. And these are instance states. Once your instance is up and running, it's going to show you the instance state here. So if you want to stop the instance from running, you select instance state. You can click stop an instance, or you can terminate an instance, or you can put your instance in hibernation. So you can hibernate. Or you want to reboot your instance, you can go and reboot your instance right here. So this gives you some actionable things you can do with instances. But to create an instance, you create launch an instance. So that will launch an instance. Let's create one instance just for experiment. Let's call this instance.
Yeah, I see.
Yes.
A stop instance is more like a pause, and then terminate it to end it.
Yes, to terminate it is to end it completely. To stop it is you stop it from running. That's exactly what it means. Then you can restart it. You can stop it and you can restart it. But when you terminate it, there's no way the instance is gone. Okay, I'll show you. Let's create this.
Is it like a destroy?
You destroy it, yes. Yeah, terminate is destroyed completely. So let me show you. Let's DevOps class. Let's create one instance 003. You can name it anything you want, right? So these are application and OS images. These are different images. You have these are the distros we were talking about, Linux distributions. So you have Linux, Amazon here, you have Mac OS, you have Ubuntu, you have Windows, you have Red Hat, you have SUSE Linux, Debian, right? So these are all the distributions that we were talking about when we're doing that history, right? So in this case, you can create a Red Hat instance, or you can create Ubuntu. Those are the two that I really like. Amazon Linux is more or less like a Red Hat instance, right? So you can create Mac OS you can create an instant Mac OS here. So I don't have a Mac OS, but if I want to use the Mac OS, I can create an instance here and use it. Okay, and it will be running on my Windows just like a Mac operating system is running. So let's a freemium operating system that Red Hat is giving you, so you can use it and do your trials and experimentation and training, right? So let's select that. The system is kind of slow. Okay. So when we select that, that is the type of operating system we use. So you go into the instance type, right? All these instances that we have has types. It ranges from a small, tiny T2 micro to T2 large, T2 extra large. Now, this takes care of the number of CPUs that you want to use. So CPU, like your computer is one computer. If you want to use a super computer, you can create one here, right? So for example, this is T2 micro. T2 micro has 1V CPU, and 1 gigabyte of memory. T2 Nano has 1 CPU and 0.5 gig memory, and it goes on and on. T2, let's go to T2 Medium, which the one that I like using the most. T2 Medium has 2 CPUs. That's you using 2 computers at once, right? And 4 gigabyte of memory. All this has implications because when you're running your application, depending on how big your application is, if you don't have enough resources to run your application is not going to run. So you have to know what application requirements that you need to run so that you select the right infrastructure or resource that would run that application. Otherwise, your application will stall and you don't know what's going on with the application. You will not know that you're running out of memory. So you have to know this. So you have T2 large. Look at how large the memory is. Now it gets to gig. Then you have T2 extra large, 16 gig. Now you're using 4 CPUs. And it goes on and on. Let me see Red Hat if they have a supercomputer with it. Okay, so T3 2x large. These 8 computers, right, combined at once. That's a supercomputer. Look at this one. C5.4x large. It has 16 computers, right? This is a super fast computer. So when you want to do they use this in universities if they want to do some experimentation, real high-speed volume computation, right? This is 48 CPUs, right? But it costs you a lot of money. Yes, different instances. So what we're going to use is T2 Micro, which is free tier eligible. But when we get into Kubernetes, because Kubernetes requires a little bit larger, and even Jenkins, because we're going to do a lot of integration. When we get to Jenkins, I'll switch to T2 Medium. I'll require you to use T2 Medium as well. You can use it and shut it down. You can incur cost for about an hour on full, which will be about $2 or $3 or so. But before we get there, don't worry about it. You have even, let me see, I think T2 Medium, do we have freemium? It's not free. It's not free. So we can use this to do a whole lot of things, right? You still have about 700 hours with AWS before they even charge you. Okay, so now we've selected the instance. The next thing that we do is the key pair, right? So you can create a key pair. Key pair, I would explain the concept of key pair, but it's like you having a key and a lock. You have a private key and you have a public. So you have a lock in your house because this is security. You want to get into your server, right? You have to create, when you create a key pair, it creates a lock. So you need a key pair to be able to open that lock to get into your house. So for you to get into your server, the security is a lock. So you need what is called a key pair to be able to get into your server so that no one else can get into your server. It's for security reasons. So you create a key pair. In this case, you can create, say, let's call it class, I'll call it class 003. Right. So that's what is going to be a .pem key, right? And it's going to be RSA. Is RSA encrypted? RSA is a particular company that has this inscription, right? There's another one called ED, right? You can use this as well, but this is the one that I use most of the time. I've used this a couple of times, but we'll use this and we'll use the .pem. We're not going to use the .ppt. If you're using POTI, the other thing that I asked you to download, you can use PPK, but we use the .pem. Then once you enter, all you need to do is enter your key pair, then you click create key pair, and that will be created for you. So the key pair is created, so you can, once it's created, it's stored in your local drive. So if you go on your download folder, this is what it looks like. Let me show you. So this is what it looks like. It's all encrypted. Encryption means you don't know what this is, right? You can't figure it out what it is. So RSA private key. So this is a private key that you have. then your public key would be the name of, you have a public key, which is coded as the name of your key pair that you use to enter to unlock this private key, right? So that's your key pair. Once you do that, we'll get into networking. There's a lot of things in networking here that I would tell you how to. If you want to increase your storage, you can increase your storage here. There are other things in advanced details, but right, there are other things in advanced details in networking but don't worry about all that right now. Just leave it as it is. Allow SSH traffic. This is SSH traffic when we say SSH into the cloud. So we're going to use a mobile XTerm that we created and SSH into the cloud. So for you to SSH, you need you need to open a port, and that port is port 22. And that's why when you check this, it's going to open that port for us automatically. So all you need to do is just leave it checked, right? And the port is open to anywhere, right? So you leave it open. I'll show you the port, what I mean here. Leave your storage as 8 gig for now. It's good enough for us to use. Don't touch anything here. In other words, the only thing that you do here is you give it a name, right? Just give it the name, whatever you want to call your instance. Select, we want to do Red Hat. So you select Red Hat is, the system is slow. Red Hat is the distribution that we want to use. Leave it free, it's free tier eligible. Leave it a free tier eligible. Don't do anything about instance because we're going to use T2 micro, which is free tier eligible. Another thing that you need to take action is to create your key pair, which you have to click here and create your key pair, right? Enter the name. Don't do anything about this. Allow SSH traffic. Just leave it the way it is. Don't change your configuration. Leave it where it is. Your gigabyte. Leave it where it is. And once you're done with that, just come over here and click Launch Instance. And that will create your instance for you. Right. So you can, once you do that, you can go back to view all instances. You click on instance. So if I go to my dashboard, it's creating right now behind the scene. So I had 3 instances. You see that instance being created here in a moment. So if I go to my instances, so these are all the instances that I have. So you should see the instance here called class DevOps class 003. So it's pending. It's not running. Now it's running, right? So if I go to my dashboard now, you should see 4 instances instead of 3, right? So you have 4 instances now running. So I have this instance running right now, right? And it's going through a status check. It's initializing the status check, and it have all the informations about, it has the public IPv4 and everything about this instance right here. So I can get into this instance. If I click this link, it will take me into this instance. So in this instance, you see, have a lot of information. The most important information you want to gather from your instance is the IP address. This public IPv4 address. This is the most important information. Let me show you one thing real quick. Go to the security. If you click on the security group, this is the SSH port that I told you, port 22, that it opened for us automatically on the inbound rules, right? It opened when you check that low box, it created this. So you open this port for us to anywhere. So we can SSH into this instance. That's what it means. So let's get back to our details. Now, since this is your key pair, it shows you where your key pair is.
Just a quick question.
Go ahead.
The protocol for the SSH was TCP.
TCP protocol.
You know
yes.
why they choose? Yeah.
TCP,
you know why they choose?
TCP protocol, because it's not HTTP. You have HTTP protocol, you have TCP protocol. TCP protocol is your level 4 protocol, and that is the networking protocol that you use for communication, right? So you have TCP protocol, you have HTTP protocol, which is level 7. TCP protocol is for local communication between networking. That's what you use for networking communication.
So everything you're doing now is on the server. That's why they're using that.
Yes,
There's
it's on the
no
cloud.
connection to your computer.
So I'm in a
Okay.
cloud right now, but we are going to connect into this cloud instance that I just created. Right. So we are going to use this port has to be open for me to make that connection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. This port has to be open.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the TCP protocol to make the connection. Okay. And I will need the IP address for me to be able to make that connection. So you have to remember your IP address, have to have this IP address. You have to also, what else? Let's get back to the details. You have to know your key pair, because without your key pair, you cannot get in there. And if you just want to see, if you had opened, you created an instance, you forgot the distribution, it has a detailed information here. It's a Red Hat distribution, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, right? So here you can see the detailed information of your instance, all the information about your instance. Okay, so let's go ahead and use a mobile XTEM and SSH into this. SSH is a secure connection, right, into a server. So this server is in the cloud. Now, let me do a demo so I can bring this home real quick. It might still seems a little bit fussy, but let me do a little demonstration so you can understand what I'm talking about. Okay, let me create okay, so this is our cloud. So we have a Red Hat instance created in our AWS cloud infrastructure. So we've created an instance now. Now this is you, or this is me, and I have my little laptop. What does a laptop look like? This is my laptop. Okay. Now I need to be able to connect to this infrastructure so I can start using this infrastructure right away. So what I need is, I need to do this. Okay. So I need to SSH into, what I need is to SSH into the Red Hat instance. Okay. So that's exactly what I want to do. So what do I need to be able to gain access? Because AWS would not let anybody gain access into their server, right? Because anyone can hack into the system. There's man-in-the-middle attack that can, if they know your information, they will get in. Hackers will hack into you and get all the information. So there's security around all the instances. So what I need to be able to access this infrastructure is first the IP address. Second, my key pair, right? I need my IP address, I need my key pair. What else do I need? I need the server name. I need the server name. I need the key pair. I need the IP address, right? If I have those three things, right, I can have a handshake with my instance, okay? And that's, let me show you how that is done, okay? So
Why?
let's manage this.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, question?
No, no, no. Let me keep watching.
Okay. So now I copied this my IP address. That's one thing I need. And this is my key pair right here. If I have the details, my key pair is class 003, which it's on my system. Remember, I'm trying to SSH from my laptop to the cloud now. So now when you click this, you copy the IP address. It's copied right now. So now I'm going to my mobile XTEM. This is my mobile XTEM that I want to use. This is my SSH client that I want to use to connect to my cloud infrastructure. So I'll come to session here. I create a new session. So click on session. Now we have SSH clients here. So click my SSH client. I will paste that my IP address in here. Now this is the name of my server. I'm using Red Hat server, and every Red Hat server has a default name. The default name is EC2 user. Okay. If I'm using an Ubuntu server, the name of my server is Ubuntu. If I'm using any Red Hat server, the name is EC2 user. Okay. So once I'm done with that, now you see I'm going to SSH using port 22. I showed you port 22 that we opened on the security group. That port was open. So for me to get in there, I need to get in through port 22. Right. So that port is open. So I can do the advanced SSH settings here. And I need that my private key to be able to unlock the door to access to cloud infrastructure. So I will select use private key. Then if I have a down arrow here, right? Now it takes me to my download folder on my Windows. And you see here, I have my class 003, the PIM file that I created. So I will select that, right? And click open. So that file is in there now. So if I click OK now, accept, it seems to be the first time you connect to this server. Yes, this is the first time. So I say accept. Now I am connected now to my SSH, to my Red Instance cloud infrastructure. So now I have that connection now. Okay, so I'm able to get into this infrastructure, right? So register this system with Red Hat and so on and so forth, right? So I'm in the cloud right now, so I can clear that and I can start running commands or do whatever I want to do. So in that computer, in the space. Is that clear? Any question? So that would be, apart from downloading the mobile XTEM and registering your account in AWS, I need you to SSH into your instance. So the first assignment that I need you to do is to download the mobile XTEM if you're using Windows operating system. Create an account in AWS, and I want to see you SSH into that cloud infrastructure. Everybody must know how to do that because that's all we're going to use in this class. So you have to practice how to do that. Create an account, destroy it, create it again, destroy it, do it 5 times, SSH into it 5 times so you master how to do it. Even in your sleep, you should be able to do SSH into your cloud infrastructure. So everyone, I require everyone to be able to do that. If you're doing it right now while I'm talking, that's fine. But after this class, I want you to go back and do that. Watch this video again and follow the steps and do that. Okay, so that's how to SSH into your cloud instance. So after that, what else?